Hello and welcome to another episode of the Bookie and the Beano, where we discuss the debits and credits of being an accountant or bookkeeper in the digital world. I'm Kane Munro, owner of Active Outsourcing and Accountancy Online, and with me, as always, is Diane Lucas, superstar bookkeeper, consultant, and owner of Direct Management. How you doing, Di?
I'm well, thank you, Kane. How's it at your end?
Very, very well. I went shopping yesterday, and I did. I'm the grocery shopper in our household. And we do a lot of our shopping online these days, but I actually walked into the shops yesterday and I'm a sucker for a sale item at Coles or Woolies. 50% off, you can get in my trolley. If I'm doing it online, you can get my virtual trolley. But yeah, I'm a sucker for anything we may need, which is half price or even reduced. I'll throw that in my trolley times probably 3 or 4.
And do you have a particular objective in mind as to what you're going to do with that article that's made it into your trolley?
Well, it depends what it is. If it's something which is maybe in the produce aisle, it's going to be for dinner that night, because obviously there's a time issue if they've discounted some meat, which I try to avoid. But yeah, a lot of the things, it's like everyday items which we might use, which I know we'll use down the track. So if they're any sort of discount, I'll kind of stock up in inverted commas within reason. Not like my grandparents used to do, where I'd open their wardrobe and there'd be like 100 boxes of cornflakes in there. But yeah, I always get one extra.
Well, I'm a freezer person, so if I see their discounted meat, then I'll fill up the trolley and stick it in the freezer for a rainy day.
I do need a good chest freezer. There's maybe not enough room for it in my house. So I just got a little. Anyway, we're getting a little bit off topic, but completely on topic, because what we were going to discuss today is whether discounting in accountancy and bookkeeping actually works. And by discounting, I mean providing a client with a discount to the fee you charge them for what you do for them. Is this something you see much of, Di, across your sisterhood or brethren in the bookkeeping profession?
Yeah, look, I mean, discounting is an interesting one. It's probably, when it comes to our own profession, I think when we all start out, we all tend to, grab that client as hard as we can, and any client will be suitable. And if that means that we need to probably price compromise in order to, get that client across the board, then we'll do that. And as you get more mature in your business, well, you clearly see that not every client is an ideal client, and you can start being a little bit more discerning in that. But we have that discussion around with our clients at times too. So I'm an advocate for putting discounted income as a negative on the P&L, so it shows up as negative income rather than a positive expense. And the reason I do that is because it really, really flags very, very strongly how much money a business is giving away when they discount.
That's a really good way of illustrating that, because there's not usually that much sort of visibility around it. It's kind of hidden away, where if you disclose it like that, it's front and center for most business owners to see it.
And when it becomes a significant percentage of revenue, that's when a good discussion has to be had. I've got a really interesting couple of sheets here that I dug up, and I've had these kicking around in my tray for years now. I can't even remember where I picked them up. And they're two tables. One of each of them is presented similarly. So you've got a discount rate on the left hand, or in the other case, an increase percentage on the left hand, and then the margin, your business margin across the top. And so one of the tables, the discounting your prices table, really, really interesting. So if you've got a discount, if you discount things by 10%, for example, and your margin is 40%, then effectively you'd have to increase the number of sales in order to keep the same margin by over a third.
Wow.
So this is something that people, when they discount, there's a difference to discounting as a fire sale, I've got a clear stock, as opposed to a calculated discount. So I've got a client who, the calculated discount, he's got a retail store, and he's got, if you were to just walk in, you'd get the normal RRP price, but most of the stuff he would sell, it would be at a trade discount rate or a loyalty discount rate or something like that. But he's actually factored all that into his pricing model. So so you feel good as a loyalty customer because you're getting that discount. but effectively he's built in his profits already into that price anyway. So that sort of thing works well. But when you're doing a fire sale discount, 33 or over a third of increased sales in order to regain that 10% discount on a 40% GP product. That's huge.
Wow, that's crazy. What we might do, Di, on our website, we'll pop, if it's okay, we'll pop these up on the website so that way people can download them and have them on hand so they actually see what happens.
And then the other side of it, which is even more significant. So as I said before, when you're talking about when you start out in business, you discount, you price match, you do all that sort of stuff, and then as you get more mature, you start, okay, well, I'm actually more interested in getting the right client across the board and providing a value where I can charge a higher fee. So the other table is increasing your prices. And if we look at the same table, or the same comparative figures, a 10% increase of prices as opposed to a 10% discount with a 40% GP means you can actually decline in the amount of sales you do by 20% before your profit is affected.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It'd be the inverse relationship to the discount. So I guess, and I remember doing this at university, one of the courses around this sort of thing, discounting it and the like, and you target market, whether you're more of I think they were using so almost a pun there, but they're using target as an example, whether you're going to be more of a target sort of business or whether you're going to be more of a Myer sort of based business, whether you're more premium and therefore you have to sell less to make a similar amount of profit. So it makes a lot of sense what you're saying about just a slight discount or a slight increase in prices has a really big impact on your margin.
Yeah, and we do price reviews and all our engagements at the end of January. So we recommenced engagements from the 1st of February, and in that pricing review and things, we were to increase our prices on some clients due to scope change or just in general a small increase. And one of our clients declined to continue his services with us, and he was purely price based. But interestingly, his comment to me when we had a sort of discussion around why he was leaving, he said, I would love to be able to drive a BMW, but I've just got to revert back to a Commodore.
That's a compliment. That's a really good compliment to what you do.
And that's exactly, and it was a compliment. He said, we absolutely love the services you provide, but I've just got to do a financial assessment, and when I'm ready to drive a BMW again, I'm definitely going to come back. And my comment to him was, yes, thank you for the compliment, but next time please call me a Mercedes.
That's good. I don't know anything about cars. They're both the same to me, but I understand your preference there, Di. That's a really interesting conversation, though. It sounds like going forward that he wouldn't have been a great client anyway, because he'd always be squabbling about his fee, which is something I vividly remember when I was employed at bigger accounting firms, where we'd base purely what was timesheet based, what was on the timesheet got billed, and then the client would come back and just go, that's unacceptable, we expect a discount. And then the partners would just ad hoc discount on the spot. Yeah, they just write it off. They just go, yeah, no worries, we'll write 20% off. And I vividly remember seeing the invoices with the 20% write-off and stuff, and just crazy, just giving stuff away just because the clients asked for a discount. And if I was a client, I probably would too.
Because you can get away with it.
Yeah.
So it's a different mentality, and you'd really hope that that those firms are actually, have changed their mindset about how they price and are now, providing the value services that the clients are asking for. And so there's no question about what the fee is. So I've got a really good example here. Again, this is in dug it up out of the archives. And this again comes back from something from years ago. And it's an example of two hairdressers. And so as a hairdresser who's been in a small town forever and has been very comfortable charging $30 a haircut. And then as time progresses, a new hairdresser moves in and charges, puts up a sign that says, we charge $10 per haircut. And so, of course, there's a move from the $30 per haircut clients across to the $10 haircut. And so as this hairdresser is watching their revenue slide, they do something that's really, really interesting. And this absolutely relates to our industry as well. Instead of slashing the price and bringing it down to under $10 or to be competitive or matching it or anything like that, what they did was they put up a sign that says, "We will fix $10 haircuts."
That's good. That is good.
And what do? We do that all the time in our industry, don't we? We're constantly picking up the pieces of something that's been done badly, whether it's by the business owner or some other firm, and we're fixing those things, and that's what we have. What our clients appreciate us for. So I think that's a really good example of how that works in our industry.
You have a much more complicated haircut than me. I'd probably still take up the $10 haircut. But I do understand the point you're trying to make. Hey, I reckon the last 2 clients who've asked me for a discount, and it does happen, it doesn't happen very often, but I've been asked for a discount. I said, no problem, I'll give you a discount. And then I've ceased working for them as well. I don't really have that much sort of time, and respect is maybe not the right word. If somebody's going to ask for a discount on something which we put a lot of work into, then I probably don't want them as a client going forward anyway.
No, I agree with you. Actually, when somebody starts talking about discounts, they're price conscious people. They're not looking at the relationship. They're not looking at a long-term relationship. They're not looking at what you can provide to assist them in their business. And so they're not, for me, they're not the sort of client that I want to have in my business either.
Yeah, and it's becoming more common. I think it will become more common, I guess, people looking towards discounts if the economy starts to tank, and it is a possibility that will happen. There's a possibility that it won't, but people become more price conscious during times where the economy is kind of going downhill. So I do expect there to be a little bit more sort of prevalence of people asking for discounts, but I still have no intention of giving them, or if I do give them, they will no longer be a client. So it's just that's the decision we've made, and that might affect us longer term. But I think we have really competitive prices for what we do. So I also don't feel the need to kind of knock off another percentage just because somebody wants it.
No, it's right. What about in discussions with your clients? And like I said, the example of the P&L. Do you engage in those sort of discussions with your clients about how they can improve their bottom line and things by price increasing or anything like that? Is that something that you advise on?
Yeah, we do, especially around industries very similar. Be it a similar industry like the creative industry, where they're really selling time, or they're selling a solution which is based on time spent to deliver that solution. We talk about production, and you should be charging more for this because your profit margin's X. But sometimes it's hard, that message of actually sending that across, because then they need to communicate that to their clients, their end clients. I think that's the hard bit, where we can say we really think you should do X and Y for this particular reason, but ultimately they then have to have that communication with their end clients, and a lot of people don't want to have that communication around raising prices, especially.
Yeah, that's right. But what about example? This has come across our table a number of times, where a business is not registered for GST, and then of course they reach the threshold and they need to register for a GST. So effectively, if they don't raise their prices, they're going to lose 10% of their revenue. So it's a really interesting discussion, because often what I hear, especially with an online type service, so that they're selling products online, the price that they're selling at when they're not registered for GST is a competitive price. And the response is, well, if I now have to register for GST, which I have to because my business is growing, and I raise my prices by 10% to account for the GST component, I'm now uncompetitive. How do you address that scenario?
Yeah, for businesses which are coming to us and they're just starting out, we strongly suggest they register for GST from day one to avoid this. If they have any intention of getting towards $75,000, which most people running a business are hopeful of getting there, if they have the intention of doing it, we do suggest that they register for GST from day one, on the basis that it's already built into their prices, so they know what their triggers are as they grow their business. So there's not this sort of $75,000 surprise where you hit there and just go, oh, now I have to kind of either work out, rejig things inside my business, or communicate to clients that our pricing has to go up 10% purely based on GST. Again, we have clients who come along the way, and we have to communicate that as a push towards 75. This is what's going to happen when you hit 75. It's really from when you hit 75. So you get a bit of grace in that year when you hit it. But from 1st of July the next year, you're paying, there's going to be GST on it. So that's the hard bit. If we pick them up when they're sort of getting close.
Yeah. Now that's exactly what scenario that I encounter majority of time is that they're reaching that threshold, and usually when I flag that question with them, it's like, oh, I hadn't thought of it at all. So what do I do? And you're absolutely right. If a startup business can register for GST right from the get go, then it's already addressed, and it's just an easier scenario all round. So yes, there's a bit more administrative work in obviously in reporting for BASs during that period, but the long-term gain, I think, is something that needs to be focused on.
There's also like a perceived integrity thing. If you're charging GST, the person you're charging GST or selling to kind of thinks, well, they're a bigger business. They must be at $75,000, even if you're only turning over like sort of $5,000 or $6,000. It's a perception that if you're charging GST, that you need to be charging GST, as opposed to, if you're under 75, it's optional. So there is a benefit to registering for GST as well, and not just a benefit to the accountant or bookkeeper looking after that client, for your perception in the market.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about that. And of course, as you grow your business, there's always capital purchases to be made, which you can then get GST credits on.
Well, they've just upped that, haven't they? It used to be $20,000 cap, and now it's a $25,000 cap if you've got an asset. So
still hasn't been passed yet. It's not through. I believe it's on the bill for the next meeting. So, but yes, that would be a bit of a bonus, I think, if it does get passed through, which fingers crossed, and it'll be backdated to the 28th of January as well.
So what we always used to say, it's legislation by press release. Once a feel-good one like this comes out, it never really gets knocked on the head. There's certain things which will get knocked on the head. I think this sort of feel-good one where everyone's sort of a winner out of it, no government's going to knock this on the head like CGT discount or negative gearing or franking credits.
No, exactly. But think about that: $25,000, get a discounted car for under $25,000 to have as a runabout for your business.
Absolutely. That is one place I would definitely negotiate a discount, is if I'm buying a car. Not that I do that very often. I've got a car which is probably the best part of 15 years old at the moment. But yeah, the next time that is happening, I will certainly be I'll be pushing for a discount and expect a discount on my car.
Well, you could update your car, before the end of 2020. If this new legislation increase goes through, you'll be able to get one of those.
Yeah, the trick with that though, guys, if I put it inside the business and there's potential FBT components and private usage and things like that, like nobody really uses their car 100% for business. So somebody who's in the business, there'll be potentially FBT liability, which I don't like, because FBT's a punitive tax. So I try to avoid that. I always kind of think that having a car in your own name makes some sense anyway. You can get the similar sort of tax benefits, albeit maybe not that big bang deduction. It's worthwhile consideration maybe not having it in your company sometimes, because that often happens as an accountant, where somebody's go, I bought a car in the company. I'm going, oh, did you ask me beforehand? I would have told you maybe not to. So yeah,
that's right.
One of those things, which we all have in our professions.
Exactly. But then there's $25,000, you can spend that on a whole host of other equipment developments and all sorts of things, can't you? So
absolutely. Wants and needs.
And obviously negotiate the discounts to keep it underneath the cap of 25,000. So fingers crossed that one is going to go through.
Yeah, but it's wants and needs. If I need something, I'm probably happy to pay full quote. If I just kind of want it, then I might be more inclined to maybe ask for a discount.
No, totally. But we want to make sure that when we're talking to our clients that we're giving them the right mindset, so they're not just actively discounting willy-nilly just to clear things off the floor, but actually understand the repercussions of that to their bottom line as well.
Exactly right. It's a really important one, Di. And I think your trick before of actually putting it as a negative revenue item is a really good way of showing visibly showing clients of the effect that discounting will have on their business.
Quite scary at times.
Well, that's all for today on Booking the Boono. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And while you're there, leave us a review and share it with your network, especially if they are accountants and bookkeepers. We'll be back soon with another episode. So until then, stay accurate.
Bye.